In true crime cases, we often hear the phrase search teams and volunteers. But in this case, a woman who was a member of those very search teams was the one who found the body of a young victim, hidden under a pile of dry branches. And from that moment, the whole truth began to emerge. Anastasia Patricia Rubinska, born in 1996, Polish, is the type of person who always dreams big. She once said that she wanted to travel the world, work in 5-star resorts, and one day become a model. With bright eyes and characteristic blonde hair, Anastasia is friendly, easygoing, and, according to her father, has a fatal flaw: she believes in the good in everyone. After finishing high school, Anastasia attended beauty school but dropped out to follow her dream. She started taking temporary jobs in different countries, mostly in luxury hotels and restaurants. Soon after, she met her longtime boyfriend, Michael, and they both shared a dream: to pack their bags and go. In 2023, after more than a decade together, the couple decided to move to the Greek island of Kos to start a new journey. They both worked at a famous 5-star hotel in the Maramari region. Anastasia worked as a receptionist and waitress, while Michael took on another job in the complex. That evening was like any other. Anastasia went to work, and while working, she severely burned her hand. Despite the pain, she still tried to finish her shift. Michael tried to convince her to eat something, but Anastasia refused. Instead, she wanted to drink some wine to relieve stress. Around 10:30 p.m., Anastasia texted her boyfriend she didn't feel safe and wanted Michael to pick her up. But he was still at work and couldn't leave immediately. Then she texted again. A stranger, a man, offered to take her home on a motorbike. Michael was panicking. The girl he loved was drunk, panicking, and about to leave with a stranger in the middle of the night in a foreign country. He tried to contact her again, but from that moment on, everything became strange. In just a few minutes, Anastasia sent 3 different locations on her phone. Then suddenly, complete silence. That same night, Michael called the police and contacted Anastasia's family in Poland. The Greek police immediately got involved, using all their resources to search for the missing person. The first clue came from a security camera near a grocery store. There they found Anastasia sitting alone eating snacks and drinking wine. But then the horror happened. 5 men, who witnesses said were of Bangladeshi and Pakistani origin, appeared and sat with her. They laughed, drank, and then one of them took Anastasia away on a motorbike. The police immediately identified the main suspect, a man named Sullah Hodines, who was from Bangladesh, living illegally in Greece, and had a criminal record. The shop staff identified Sullah as the man who had invited Anastasia onto the motorbike. The police found and summoned the group of 5. They denied any involvement, saying they had simply helped a drunk girl. But when the police looked closely, Sullah Houden's face and hands were covered in scratches, and another man in the group had a cut on his nose. None of this could have been a coincidence. The police collected DNA from the suspects and intensified the search across the island. They even brought in sniffer dogs to track them down. Finally, a clue emerged. Anastasia's phone was found in an abandoned building, 5 kilometers from where she lived. The SIM card was removed, the GPS was turned off, all the data, messages, photos, call history, had been erased. This was no longer a missing persons case, it had become a criminal case. And then, on June 18, 2023, a volunteer named Anna, the very one mentioned at the beginning of the story, discovered a strange pile of straw near a tree in the Tagaki swamp. When she examined it with a stick, a large plastic bag appeared. Inside was the naked and decomposed body of a woman. There were no fingerprints, no identification, but the police knew right away it was Anastasia. When Anastasia's body was found in a plastic bag in the middle of the Tagaki swamp, all hope was dashed. All the efforts of Michael, her family, and the volunteer search team were now just a dull ache. But what made the investigators shudder was the scene, and the way the killer had deliberately done everything to erase all traces. From this point on, the case was officially considered a murder, no longer a missing person case. And the prime suspect, Salahuddin S., was arrested the same day. When confronted by the police for the first time, Salah claimed that he had only helped Anastasia because she was too drunk. But after learning that the body had been found near his home, he abruptly changed his story. This time, Salah said Anastasia had come to his house voluntarily, they had a chat, and she had left safely. However, the police knew that couldn't be true. At Salah's apartment, the investigation team found a series of undeniable evidence: a blouse with red bloodstains, an orange hoodie suspected to be Salah's, and especially the blonde hairs on the pillow and blanket. All the samples were sent for testing. The DNA results came back quickly and confirmed they matched Anastasia's, but that wasn't all. When police examined Salah's phone, which had been seized after his arrest, they found a string of searches that would make anyone's skin crawl: how to wipe data off phone, how to distract the police, how to make a body unidentifiable. This wasn't a panic attack. This was preparation. This was calculation. Salah knew he had killed, and he had deliberately sought to erase the victim's existence. If anyone had ever doubted his involvement, these searches were the final proof. Not stopping there, while searching Salah's house, the police found an extremely important detail: a one-way plane ticket to Italy, booked for the next day. The day Salah was arrested, he was ready to run away, leaving everything behind. He did not tell his roommates. He did not say goodbye. No one knew where he planned to go, but it was clear that he did not intend to stay in Kos after committing the crime. Fortunately, the police acted in time. A big question was raised: what role did the other 4 men, those who appeared on camera with Salah and Anastasia, play in this crime? The camera clearly recorded Anastasia leaving on a motorbike with Salah. But the other 2 men in the group also had suspicious injuries on their bodies. However, throughout the investigation and at the trial, only one person was prosecuted and convicted. That was Salahuddin. Due to the lack of direct evidence and the lack of strong testimony, the remaining 4 were not convicted of murder. Justice was served, but for many, a void remained. At the final hearing, Anastasia's father, Andrei, told the press he will never get out of prison again. But this punishment will not bring my daughter back. A statement that left many people choking up. But the most powerful words came from his brother, Adrian. In an emotional moment, Adrian looked at the defendant and said, "I just need 10 minutes. Alone. No one there. I will end it all." Of course, such words are not encouraged. But who can blame a brother for losing his sister forever in such a brutal way? In less than 7 days, from the time Anastasia went missing until her body was found, many lives were changed forever. A young woman, only 27 years old, was tricked, held captive, and murdered by someone she believed was safe. A bright dream in the Mediterranean turned into a nightmare with no way out. Anastasia's death not only shook the peaceful island of Kos, a favorite destination for tourists, but also terrified women across Europe. A young woman, working in a luxury hotel, with a boyfriend by her side, with a bright future ahead of her. And still murdered. Not in the middle of the woods, not in the wilderness, but right in the heart of a famous tourist destination. And what makes it even more outrageous, her killer had a criminal record, had shown signs of danger, and yet he was still walking around freely, as if no one cared. On December 6, 2024, nearly 18 months after Anastasia's death, Selahattin's trial began in Greece. The prosecution described the case as a premeditated, brutal, and torturous crime. They claimed that Sulla lured Anastasia to his apartment, perhaps by pretending to be kind or faking a dangerous situation, and then brutally abused, tortured, and murdered her. The injuries on Sulla and a friend's bodies suggest that Anastasia fought back. She did not surrender, she fought for her life, until her last breath. The physical evidence, including blood, hair, blouse, and phone data, was incontrovertible. Sulla's constantly changing testimony only further demonstrated his desire to conceal and escape. In the end, the court found Selahattin guilty of premeditated murder and sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom was silent as the verdict was read. But in the eyes of Anastasia's family, no one felt relieved. As her father said, "A sentence will not bring my daughter back. But at least he will never hurt anyone again." However, one question still haunts many: what about the other four? Are they innocent, or is there simply a lack of evidence to convict them? To date, no one else has been charged, and charges of accomplices, if any, remain in the dark. Anastasia's story immediately became international news. Polish, Greek, German, and many European media continuously reported on the case, with the headline, "A woman killed in the heart of a tourist paradise." Residents on the island of Kos, especially women, fell into a state of panic. They were afraid to go out at night, afraid to talk to strangers, afraid of the place where they once felt safest. Many people spoke up to demand increased security for tourists and migrant workers, especially women. In Poland, the case was even brought to the parliament. MPs fiercely debated the responsibility to protect citizens working abroad. Anastasia's family became a symbol of helplessness and anger. Having lost their daughter in a foreign land because of a man who should have been deported long ago, although justice has been served to some extent, the pain never goes away. Michael, Anastasia's boyfriend of more than a decade, was devastated. He once said, "I always protected her. And yet, when I was needed most, I wasn't there." He lives with guilt and pain, knowing that just a few minutes, a few decisions away, things could have been different. But he can't turn back time. No one can. As for Adrian, Anastasia's brother who loved her like a treasure, he shared after the trial, "I always hoped she would become a model, have a family, have a normal life. And yet, all that was cut short by a beast in human skin." Anastasia's story is a heartbreaking warning that kindness and blind trust can be cruelly exploited. She did nothing wrong. She didn't cross the line. She was just a young girl trying to survive and enjoy a bad day with a glass of wine, and never come back. No one should die like that. No one should be betrayed, abused, and thrown away like trash. The world is dangerous today, but we should not live in fear forever. Anastasia's story should be told, not to spread fear, but to remind us all of the need for vigilance, mutual support, and the importance of international law in protecting migrant workers. Anastasia Rubinska may be gone, but her voice, her dreams, her strength, and her kindness will forever be part of the world's collective memory. Thank you for watching this heartbreaking but important story. If you want to spread awareness and compassion, please like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next true crime documentary.